We are 1 year out from the 2016 Olympics, which means it's time to start examining what Team USA's roster will look like in Rio. Ben Golliver joins us to discuss what his dream team would look like for the 2016 Games. Ben, as you know, the U.S. roster is absolutely stacked. If Jerry Colangelo and Mike Krzyzewski decide to give you a ring tomorrow and hand over the reins to USA Basketball, what would your starting lineup look like in Rio?
Matt, I think you've got four really easy calls and then one coin flip that's going to be so difficult to determine, maybe it doesn't even matter. But let's start with the easy ones. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and then in the middle, I'd start Anthony Davis as a small ball center, gets super versatile, super athletic. And I think if I'm one of these countries that has to play the United States, I look across the court and it's LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Anthony Davis as the front court. I'm pretty nervous. I'm probably already mentally beaten before the game's even started. Shifting to the backcourt, I think it's a pretty clear choice there at number 2 spot. I give it to James Harden, big time scorer, and just gives you even more star power, even more guys you can't help off of when you're trying to defend the LeBron Jameses and the Kevin Durants. The biggest question, I think, is point guard. Historically, that's been Chris Paul's spot these last couple of tournaments when he's played. Is he going to have to give the reins up to Steph Curry, who's really come on strong here in the last 12 months? Maybe the most interesting or electrifying offensive option in the NBA today with his three-point shooting and his passing ability. I think at this point, I would actually lean Curry. I'd like to put him out there, get him in pick and rolls with some of these superstars and see what develops. But you really can't go wrong with Chris Paul either. And both those guys are going to play a lot of minutes for this Team USA if they're healthy. So the starting thing might not matter too much.
Yeah, can't go wrong with the reigning MVP and NBA champion at Curry at point guard, but there are a ton of options. Ben, what about the second unit? Who are maybe the most important bench players? Who do you really want backing up that star-studded starting lineup?
First of all, Russell Westbrook. Another guy talk about, he's almost like mini Charles Barkley in terms of intimidating opponents. I think his athleticism, strength, and skill on the ball, it would just be, it's great in the international format because there's nothing like him anywhere else in the world. So he would be my number 1 pick off the bench. I'd also throw Klay Thompson into that mix. You always want shooting. He's the shooter. Certainly use him that way. So that would be my backcourt. In the front court, it gets a little bit trickier because you've got some holdovers. So you've got guys like Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Love, even a guy from the last World Cup team in DeMarcus Cousins, who are probably all expecting to be on the roster, and they're certainly deserving. I would like to see Draymond Green and Kawhi Leonard, your top 2 vote getters for the Defensive Player of the Year award. Kawhi Leonard has not really been a USA basketball guy, these last couple of tournaments, but when you're looking forward for the next 5 years, I think he's got a case as being the best small forward in the NBA besides LeBron and Kevin Durant. He's an unbelievable defensive player. You could really lock down a lot of teams in the international format with him being out there, playing against the number 1 scoring option. And then, of course, from an intangible standpoint, nobody's going to be better than Draymond Green. We saw what he did for the Warriors. I think he was their second most important player behind Stephen Curry during that title run. He can play center for you, which I think is really big because often it's, USA finds itself searching for enough size to compete with like the Gasol brothers for Spain. So I think if there's 2 guys who haven't been really in the mix for the past, who I think should be considered for this roster, it'd be Kawhi Leonard and Draymond Green.
So, Ben, if I were to put you on the spot, would you say you would take Draymond Green over Kevin Love for the 2016 Games?
Personally, if I was making the call, I absolutely would, because what Kevin Love brings to the table, as we know, is the floor spacing with his three-point shot, and it's also his low post scoring ability. And I think you've got those skills at other positions. And what you're really looking for is players who are going to complement those guys, not duplicate them. And I'm not sure you need Kevin Love's scoring ability on this roster. So to me, Draymond Green would be a pretty easy choice in that situation.
Well, that dream team of yours is pretty stacked, and I think if they end up making it down to Rio, we might not have to pay too much attention to the games. Could be a lot of routes. So thanks, Ben, for joining us. We'll talk USA basketball a lot more soon. Thanks a lot.